Hopefully, Mike's coming on. We'll see. But good morning to our viewers. Another show here. It's a new month, October 1st. Dad, what do you typically look for in a new month? I know you always talk about rebalancing in the market. Is that something we should be prepared to see, or is that not really?
No, I mean, there's always rebalancing going on in the beginning of the quarter, and it's anyone's guess what's going on right now. But usually, it's good in the first few days of the month.
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
I think yesterday, today, I think people anticipate money coming in if it's not coming in. So it's one way or the other. But
Yeah.
October has usually negative implications for the market.
It sucks.
A couple of the crashes took place in October, and people always remember that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that the market's definitely been hot, and it seems like there's fresh talks of there possibly being a stimulus deal. It's tough to know whether or not that's actually going to happen, or if that's even the reason that the market's moving. But
yeah, the problem is, I mean, I think Trump would immediately sign to any deal, but you lose Republican senators voting for this every dollar that it gets increased. So that's what the big sticking point is here, and that's why Mitch McConnell is against just signing this thing, because he knows he doesn't have support. How you doing, Mike?
Fine. The internet's just not working well here, so I'm on my phone.
But how are you working today?
I'll be fine, Dad. I'm working, getting through this shit.
Nice.
Dan, how you feeling?
I feel great.
Nice.
But yeah, for our viewers out there, this is kind of a strange incident, but I got a COVID test because I'm in Colorado, and I wanted to see my parents and stuff, and it turns out I tested positive again, and that's after I already had COVID like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and after I had COVID a month later, I got tested because I was coming back out to Colorado that time, and that test was negative. So I tested positive, then I tested negative. Now I tested positive again. I'm hoping it's a false positive. I'm going to try and get another test because I feel great. And I don't think that, I mean, the physician that I talked to said we have not been seeing people get COVID twice. So that's that. It'll be something to keep an eye on. If people are getting COVID twice, it's a whole other thing.
That would be unreal if that was not false. I feel like it's definitely false.
Yeah. And then,
well, on that subject, I read today that, I guess some reporters have been speaking with a few of the people that have taken the phase 3 trial with Pfizer and Moderna, and some of these people are getting pretty violently ill for like a day, chills and fever and all the symptoms, but kind of in one day, and then they feel better. But one person had the chills so bad they cracked a tooth.
Sounds like Chris Cuomo.
Jesus, that's crazy.
So, I noticed Moderna's down today. I don't know if it's that, but people are not going to want to take the vaccine if they know they're going to have a lot of side effects. So that's another factor in this whole crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. That's why it's crazy to me that the market is up. I think it could be a good opportunity to possibly take some profits. I was just looking this morning, and obviously it's a mixture of earnings season and different upgrades, downgrades, all kinds of headlines happening. But the one thing that I'm seeing a lot of this morning is a lot of layoffs. I mean, first off, I saw a report that American Airlines and United Airlines both said that they would move ahead with layoffs since there's been no new aid from lawmakers. So that's one there, but that's just the beginning. I saw a lot more. Another thing was the cruise lines got delayed yet again. The CDC extended it through October 31st after the original ban that they had through October 1st. So that'll be something to look for. Allstate Insurance is cutting 3,800 jobs, which is 8% of the company's workforce. Marathon Petroleum's cutting 12% of the workforce, which is over 2,000 jobs due to weak energy prices. Goldman Sachs is doing a modest number of layoffs of over 400 people, which is 1% of theirs. That's all on my list for now, but I mean, those are all just this morning that those
Yeah,
are.
Disney, I think, was yesterday. They announced over 20,000.
Yeah, I think that was 2 days ago. So, it seems like the job outlook in the country is getting worse. And obviously, there's a lot of unknowns with the COVID. We're heading into these colder months. And saying that, there was also a lot of good earnings. I mean, Pepsi came out and they beat their earnings. They're up a little on the news. That stock doesn't seem like it moves too much on earnings, but then Bed Bath & Beyond, they crushed their revenues, and they're up huge on earnings. They're up $2.50, which is 16% this morning. So that'll be something to follow. Ford is on the radar this morning. Apparently, I guess their CFO is leaving, and I guess they're adding new lines of cars that are going to be more affordable. But either way, I mean, Dad, what's going on with Ford?
Well, I think their new CEO started today, day one, and the CFO, I don't know if he was a temporary CFO, but he was only there 15 months, so that's new. And this new guy wants to get margins up quite a bit, so we'll just have to give him a chance. But, anything is bullish for a company that's been in the doldrums.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, a couple other things as far as upgrades go. Amazon Pivotal Research gave them a price target increase to 4,500 per share, which I think is the highest one on Wall Street. There was a bunch that came in at like 37.50 a few months back. So that's going to be an interesting one to have.
I like the way Plug out. I did buy it, a little bit, and I've been selling into the strength here. But I think it's going to make a new high pretty soon.
Yeah, Plug at 1377.
Very quietly moving higher and higher. And Vuzi, I made a sell this morning in the pre-market.
Nice.
That's another one I'm selling into strength.
Yeah, I sold out yesterday at the highs.
And Boeing, I bought some yesterday, and I'm trying to sell some of that into the strength. I mean, Boeing, it seems to me that the FAA is going to approve this thing, and very soon, and that takes a big vice off of Boeing. I don't know what the demand is; it's psychological.
And I will say, I know Mike and I have brought this up several times. We're both members of Kramer's Charity Fund Index, and he just picked up Boeing yesterday and added it to his bullpen. So I thought that was interesting. Maybe people are starting to give Boeing a look. I've been long Boeing since like 2014. I'm just kind of putting that thing away and hoping it doesn't do much. Or I shouldn't say that, hoping it does a whole lot.
Yeah. And the big names are moving. Apple, Microsoft, you mentioned Amazon.
The market's ripping this morning. And, the other thing to bring up is yesterday you had, I think it was 7 or 8 players from the Tennessee Titans that tested positive for COVID. And I think that they're going to postpone the game to a Tuesday. I don't think they're canceling the game. Obviously, Penn and DraftKings have been just continuing to rip. And this morning, DraftKings announced the similar partnership with the Eagles that they have with the Giants, where they're going to be like their official partner. And I think that just gives them the right to use the logo. So DraftKings at all-time highs this morning, right now, trading at 61.50. It got above 59 yesterday. This is the first time it's over 60. And just continues to rip. And Penn yesterday, same thing, got up to over 75 and then ultimately came down. But this morning, right back at it.
Yeah, and, baseball playoffs, people are into all these games, the basketball finals, football. It just reminds people every night when they're gambling on these games that these stocks are out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then, Microsoft continues to rip. It's at 213 now, which, the stock has been kind of going I shouldn't say back and forth. It was going back and forth between like 200 and 207 for a while, but it seems like it's starting to make it happen.
And then there was the direct listing of PLTR yesterday. This thing had so much press. Palanta or Palanta, I don't know how you pronounce it. This thing opened at 10 on like, I don't know, 100 million shares. And I think it traded close to 300 million yesterday. And the stock closed below 10. It ran up to 11.42 and then started coming down. So that's one to keep an eye on. If you buy it today, pre-market, you're buying it better than almost everyone who bought it yesterday.
Except the people who got in on it before it actually became available.
Yeah, most people with this kind of deal, they're able to sell immediately into the market. And apparently they had been set up through Morgan Stanley to be able to sell their shares. And there was a technical glitch. Some of them couldn't get their executions off yesterday or early on. So they probably missed the high prices and they'll probably be lost.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to just sue them. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
A technical difficulty. It's like, well, they'll have to pay up.
Yeah, seriously.
We'll see what happens there.
I saw that the entire Japan stock exchange was closed for the entire day due to a technical difficulty as well. Has that ever happened before? Like, what does that even mean?
They've had that happen before. I mean, that's, the entire market is electronic there, so it could happen. I wouldn't read into it at all.
Interesting. So that'll be, I guess, not really something to watch, but just kind of a weird little thing.
Yeah.
Anything else on any of your guys' radar? The other thing that came up is Tesla, I guess, announced they're coming out with a cheaper line of car too. And they're obviously getting the look this morning. They're trading at over 440 now, which, look, here's the deal. Everyone's kind of expecting, it seems like, this stimulus to get approved in the next 24 to 48 hours of some level. If for whatever reason that doesn't happen, I could see all these gains in the last 3 days getting erased. I mean, this seems like a little too good to be true with how much the market is running up right now. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I'm starting to wonder what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you do have to sell into this. Who knows what's going on? This election is bizarre beyond any we've ever seen. And at the end of the day, whoever comes out on the other side of it, I don't even know if the market has a clue. You hear all different stories of some portfolio managers thinking it's going to be better and others think it's worse. So we'll just have to see. A Biden victory doesn't necessarily mean a down market, is what you're hearing from a lot of these guys lately.
Yeah, it sounds like, if anything, it could be the opposite.
Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting, kind of, I'm sure brings it back for everybody, is Mountain Crest Acquisition is another one of these SPAC companies, I guess, but they're taking Playboy Enterprises public. Playboy, the old school magazine company, I guess they used to be public back in the day, but went private in 2011. They're going to be trading under the ticker PLBY, short for Playboy. And
I remember in the old days, you used to get stock certificates for stocks. Like, there were people who, when Jaguar went public, way back before Ford bought them, they would have a picture of a Jaguar on the certificate, and Playboy had a picture of a nude woman on the certificate. Everybody wanted to own Playboy. It was like, just to get one share, you could put it on your wall.
That's hilarious.
It wasn't like a real photo of the nude woman, but it was, if I recall, like a silhouette or something. But that was the old days of certificates.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I honestly didn't really even know that. I mean, I know that Playboy still exists, but not to the level that they would become a public company again. But that's cool. And then Starbucks, they increased their quarterly dividend of 45 cents per share from 41, which isn't that big of news. But, I mean, any name I type in this morning is green, which is always a fun day, or at least the beginning of the day. Mike Beyond
As long as you're not short, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mike Beyond Meat continues to crush. I mean, that stock looks like it's heading to the low 170s.
Yeah, I
So-
was day trading it a couple times yesterday because I
Nice.
got out at 169 on Tuesday, and then I've been going in and out of it.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, you've been all over that name.
It's just beginning.
Beginning of Beyond Meat, according to Mike. And
And if you look at some of the volume names today, like ENLV comes on the list today. That thing's up almost 100% on a takeover rumor. I don't even know what they do. I'm sure it's a biotech of some kind. But 8 million shares pre-market. It's kind of leading the pack for the usual cast of characters like Nikola up big and NIO is up somewhat.
I mean, they're up a good amount. They're up almost 50 cents NIO. And NIO is at all-time highs now, 21.68. That stock was at 18.55 2 days ago. So just ripping. And Nikola, I don't even understand it. Yesterday, it looked like a major short squeeze. I mean, GM sounds like is basically probably going to pull out of the deal. They're saying they're pushing back the deal, but I don't know if that's going to actually happen. Like, if they have a out, they're probably going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, someone said they should walk away, wait till the company goes down to near zero, and then buy it.
Buy what?
The whole company.
A circus?
You know, whatever's behind you, Mike, I thought that was your hair. Actually, like a wreath. What is that thing?
God, I have no idea. Some girls,
It
whatever
looked,
she
it
has
looked
here.
like it was part of your hairdo. But
This chick like lives in the mountains, clearly 24/7. Or I don't know how she even lives here.
Just to be clear here, DraftKings is, I know I already brought them up, but this is the same headline. It's a little different, but the one that they did with the New York Giants.
Yeah,
right? They did
it's
with Philly
ridiculous.
to be able to use a logo, and Philly's giving them the naming rights for some club at their stadium. And the stock is up 5%, which amounts to almost another $1 billion on that news.
Those things are going to be selling off so hard one of these days. And I've been on the sidelines now for a month, but it's just, I don't even understand it.
I mean, it's amazing to me that after the Titans had a bunch of players test positive and they announced they're postponing a game, which I don't even know how you do that in football. There was hardly even a sell-off. There was a pause. Both stocks stayed positive while they were trying to figure out
We're
what
talking
was
about
actually
one
happening.
game, one event being pushed back 2 days.
Yeah, but it just shows that the NFL is, they don't have it figured out like basketball. You got a lot of players on one team testing positive. I mean, that feels like the beginning of things to come in my mind. Maybe I'm just hopeful that DraftKings goes down so I have another opportunity to get in. So every time it pops, I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense. But I've been saying that since the Jordan news $20 ago. So
I'm not letting FOMO get me on this one. I'm sticking to my gut on Penn and DraftKings and waiting for this market to shake up because it's coming. It's October.
I'm waiting for DraftKings to announce they have a deal with Michael Jordan. Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They keep announcing the same things. It's like Beyond Meat, Mike.
Well, Beyond Meat is way more credible with their announcements. Their announcements involve their exposure being on a whole nother level with distribution. So when you have increased deals with behemoths like Walmart being announced, that's, justified their stock moving.
Yeah. Dad, what level in the short term would you look to possibly take some profits in a name like Microsoft? Or do you still think that stock can make a run to 245?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at Microsoft's shorter term chart, maybe going back 20 or 30 days, it looks like it can get back up to 230 pretty easily. So I would not be a seller of Microsoft unless you're day trading it and you happen to pick it up 2 days ago, or swing trading it. But if you're looking long term, I mean, you can make a case for the stock going back towards the size. I mean, short term, it has to break through 218, and then it's an easy ride back to the highs. That short term would be a tough level to get through. 217.85, right around there.
Gotcha.
But this is a great company which should go up with the market.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, I picked some up for a swing trade a few weeks ago, but I kind of want to hold it until it maybe makes that run to all-time highs.
I'll tell you what I am thinking of doing with Microsoft, because I did pick some more up also.
Sell calls.
Sell the 215 if it gets towards that, which is $2 away. And you sell out the November or December. So you're only holding it for about a month or two. And it'll probably give you, I haven't looked at it lately, but I bet you can still get about 7 or 8 points out of it.
Is this the kind of day where you could expect possibly like some sort of flush out after this hot of a pre-market?
Who knows? I mean, yeah, it could happen. But we've seen that so many times, you almost think it's going to go the other way.
You're right.
The market ends up 1,000 today.
That would be something. But
I mean, it does seem like, just if looking back on some of the articles over the last few days, it seems like there are a lot of people positioned short in the market. And if that's true, days like today cause those people to cover their shorts and the stocks to go higher. So, I think
I usually, when I'm able to make sales in the pre-market, those sales turn out to be too low based on the rest of the day. And while we're on the air, I sold Boeing at right under 170. So who knows? Maybe
you know what they
Bobby,
say,
too low.
You don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Well, you say that, but then in an hour, it might be trading at 173 or 4.
Too low, Bobby.
Too low, Bobby, right.
Yep.
And then, Bob, what's an update on X Steel?
I own X.
I think anytime they mention cyclicals, X gets a lift. And,
how's it looking this morning?
It's up, but, nothing spectacular yet.
And
Good, get me in the
Bitcoin
green
looks
on
like
that
it's on
thing,
its
I'll
march
ship it.
back to 11,000. It's trading at 10,893 this morning. Little pop in Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, you said?
Yeah,
What's it trading at?
almost 11,000 again.
There we go.
I mean, is there anything you guys can find that is not green today?
Sorrento is not green, and I'm kind of surprised. SRNE.
Not green, no news. Might be time to pick up a bid.
That thing has been all over the map, as always. Other than that, I don't really see much that's down. I mean, there are some, like Moderna, like I mentioned before, is down. Is Pfizer down?
Yeah, I've actually got a little cash on the sidelines for the first time in who knows how long today.
Nice. Well, I mean, are you putting that to work today, or are you kind of waiting for this fiasco to settle down?
It depends what my gut's telling me in the next couple hours. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine, really.
One interesting name that is not that interesting is Intel, which has now almost gotten back to the highest point since their bad earnings. So if it breaks through that, it's got a lot of room to the upside.
Yeah, it's tough to not just like NVIDIA if you're looking at a chip maker.
But there are people out there that think in a year, if you compare Intel to NVIDIA, Intel will have a higher percentage move.
That's great. What people are these?
Because, they're out there.
I don't buy that at all.
It's
I
the
think
Walmart, Amazon.
That's what you call wishful thinking, Bob.
I mean, DraftKings is going to probably be up 15% today. It just has the feeling that it's going to absolutely explode, which tells me it's going to flush out and
yeah, I am not.
drop
I'm going to
10%
wait to jump on that. When I have my buddy text me, "Oh, I'm up huge on DraftKings," that's when I know it's about to shit the bed.
Did that just
Waiting
happen?
for that text?
That text hasn't happened yet.
No, it will today. That's when I know it's reaching its top. This kid is literally the cooler for DraftKings. I'm not going to mention his name, but I know every time that thing's about to fall.
Is that William Macy you're talking about?
Huh?
William Macy. He's the cooler.
William Macy.
Yeah, he's the guy who plays that part, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about in real life, a friend of mine. But William Macy seems like a cool dude.
Well, I think that wraps it up for today, guys.
Right, we have 5 minutes here.
We do have 5 minutes. Well, do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, or any stocks you're looking at today? I mean, we went over a ton of different names.
Just going down the list, the banks are also up small. I mean, the oils suck.
Yeah, I'm really contemplating just dishing my BP and calling it a day.
Yeah, BP has not had an up day, it feels like, in 6 months.
Since I owned it.
It really hasn't.
That thing has been, I think I've owned it now for like 10 months. Every day, 6 out of 7, even though the weekends are closed, it's down on weekends. That's how bad that stock's operated.
It's pretty impressive how much BP has gone down.
Yeah,
ever since Mark Wahlberg played that actor in that movie about that oil spill, they've just fallen apart.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Deep Horizon.
By the way, look at Exxon.
I'm not a fan of these gas stocks, Dad. Exxon, Chevron.
Exxon is the same chart as BP. Look at that stock.
Is that XOM?
XOM. It's been a disaster.
Of course it has. It's a gas stock. All I hear when I hear gas stock is ancient. It reminds me of like an old history teacher I had in 5th grade. They're on their way out.
Let's see.
Good old Mr. Kinch.
Let's get a quick touch here on the futures and just kind of see what the market's doing as a whole.
Yeah, actually, let's look at the futures.
They've come down a little, but not really. I mean, you got tech looks like it's up massive today. That's
what does?
Tech. Big tech.
Nice. I did get more Facebook under 260, so.
Well, that's looking good. And
anytime you could get Facebook like that, it's looking good.
Speaking of Facebook, what's Snapchat and Twitter doing? Wow,
I feel like Facebook's just like always flown under the radar lately, and they're up to some dominant things.
Yeah, 34.10 is a real big level. 34 to 34.10 on the futures. So we still have room, but that's where you could hit a wall. If you break through that, then maybe you're trying for the new highs again. It's hard to believe, but it could be.
Yeah, it's got that feeling. Like there haven't been, and maybe today is when it happens, but those, huge volatile swings midday. Yesterday, it felt like it almost happened in the afternoon when
I can see next week being dicey.
When is the next debate?
I think they're calling them off.
No, they're not going to call them off.
I love how Trump will start a rumor saying he's heard this from a lot of people, and he won't specify who, but it's a great way to just start any news in the world. Well,
those are the people he hears in his sleep.
I have this really smart guy I know. He's the smartest guy you'll ever meet, believe me. I find that so clever, and he'll never mention who this guy is.
Well, in 1968 or so, I don't remember when, there was a comedian who did Richard Nixon. And every morning he would pretend Richard Nixon looked in the mirror. He said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest president of them all?" Richard Nixon.
You guys watched the South Park pandemic special last night?
I missed it.
You got to watch it. They really just went ham on every little thing that's been happening, from obviously the COVID to Trump to the stuff with the police to the stuff with the Black Lives Matter.
Oh,
they got it all in such a genius
Yeah, they're the best.
They killed it. It was really, really funny.
Maybe we'll get those guys doing something for Hungry Buffs when we're linked up here long term.
Yeah.
That would be something. Former CU alumni.
Well,
didn't they buy a whole building for that school?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I think it's a rumor. I don't actually know if it's true. But all right, let's wrap it up. Talk to you guys later.
Good.